feel like the grass is green, and everything I do is unseen. But I know that's just in my mind. I know everything is just in my mind. Do you really want to be famous? Do you really want to be a superstar? Do you really want to get dangerous? Do you even know where the groupies are? Bitches out here be...
Welcome to Hammer's House.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Hammer's House, brought to you in part by Spotlight Sports Network and The Daily Sporting. I'm here on this glorious Sunday with my man, the talented Mr. Taco.
What up, y'all?
And we are going to talk about the amazing acquisition of Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco to my New York Mets. Taco, we know you're a diehard Yankee fan. What are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I thought this was a Mets thing, so we kind of come to my perspective on the Yankee side. But I could put it like this: Lindor. I mean, I think you knew as well that Lindor was that guy that I wanted for the Yankees. Like even when you have DJ LeMahieu there, like honestly, what I wanted, and this personally is just me being a fan, I would have loved to have seen us move DJ to first, maybe somehow package Voit in the deal to get Lindor and Carrasco. And those are the two exact guys I wanted because we need a number 2 starter and we need a shortstop in order to move Glaber back to second. And then we can sign DJ, have him play first and third. But truthfully, it's a great deal for the Mets. They gave up, a couple of prospects. I know they gave up both shortstop prospects, Rosario and the other kid they had coming up who, a lot of people view very highly. And then they gave up a couple of outfield prospects. But I think it's a great deal for the Mets, honestly. It's a deal that they have to pull the trigger on, especially with having the cap space that they do. You figure in free agency, they probably would have tried to go out and sign a Lindor. So bringing him this year, I think, is a great move, especially when you accompany him with a Carlos Carrasco, who can be a really dominant starting pitcher for the Mets, especially when you slide him into that 2-3 spot that he should be filling once Noah comes back. So I think overall it's a move that the Mets had to make when you think about what they were giving up and what the offer was. It was just an irresistible offer, as they say.
And I've had so many people on various Mets group pages and Twitter and everything that were losing their minds over this trade. Oh, you guys got rid of our 2 best shortstops. Reality check, Mets fans. Lindor had better numbers than any Mets shortstop in 3 consecutive years.
Yeah.
They didn't give up much in regards to the prospects they did trade, and trading Rosario and Jimenez. There is a top prospect that the Mets have in the minor league farm system that they did not get rid of. So there's nothing to panic about. You guys are afraid is if Lindor is going to sign an extension with the Mets. Absolutely. I see it happening. And I also see them still making moves in regards to building up this offense, building up the bullpen. George Springer's still out there on the market. We can still get him to maybe a 4 or 5 year deal. And then just looking to bolstering the bullpen. But the lineup is going to be absolutely crazy. Just with the addition of Lindor and all the other guys that we have right now. I spoke to Michael Kay on Thursday. They opened up actually very early on Thursday to break this down. And I was the very first caller. And I gave him my thoughts. I definitely believe we're World Series contenders. I believe if we add George Springer right now, we will be certified World Series contenders. Braves have run that division the last 2-3 years, so we still got some competition in front of us. But I was extremely excited. I was extremely ecstatic when I heard the news. I was at work and lost my mind. They're like, what's going on? I was like, we got Lindor!
Yeah, so, I think it was a shocking deal because it happened so quickly. Like obviously there was rumors that the Mets might be players involved in Lindor, but one of the things I think that really took people by surprise is that it kind of came down, like I want to say, like shortly, in the beginning of the year that, okay, the Mets are one of 2 teams that are seriously interested, them and the Blue Jays. And by the next day, the Mets were, almost finalizing the offer for Lindor. So they moved quickly. And for us Yankee fans, I think it makes us happy that Lindor did not end up with the Blue Jays. But I think it does open up more possibilities that DJ LeMahieu could end up being a target of the Blue Jays. So I think that definitely sets us in a position where, one, now the backup plan that we had for DJ LeMahieu isn't there, and two, what are some of the other teams going to do? Because guys like you were talking about before, Justin Turner. Justin Turner is a solid third baseman, good defense, has good on base percentage, can hit the ball. Especially when you're thinking about lineups where you get on base and you need a consistent guy. It's kind of what DJ LeMahieu did. DJ LeMahieu doesn't steal bases. DJ LeMahieu isn't a big home run hitter, but he gets average and he gets his at bats. So it's definitely something that works for that lineup. And I think that a guy like Justin Turner actually does work pretty good for your lineup, especially at third base.
Like, look at it. Look, here's the projected 2021 lineup right now with the addition of Lindor. We got Lindor leading off, McNeil, Conforto, Alonso at cleanup, Brendan Nimmo, Dominic Smith, James McCann, JD Davis. And mind you, that's if we don't have a universal DH this coming season.
I don't think there's going to be one from everything I heard. The rumors are that a lot of the things that the MLB instituted last year, like the DH, may not come back this year. But that's just rumors, but that's what I've been hearing so far.
I honestly would prefer it, but you know what? Time.
I think it's better for the game.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But time will tell. We are about a little over a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting to camp anyway. So we'll wait and see how this plays out.
And I think that could also be pushed back as well because they haven't finalized the date of the start of the season. Rumors are that it's April 1st,
right?
But there's also rumors that it could be pushed to May. And I think it really depends on how the vaccine starts getting applied and when they can get fans back in the stands, because MLB really wants to start the season and have fans being able to attend, even if it's just a small portion of the crowd until later on in the summer when they can get more people out. So I think with the MLB, they also, I don't think they're playing 162 this year. I can almost bank on that. And the real question is just going to come down to when they actually open up for business and what kind of timeline are they going to give. And I think that's also part of the reason why we're seeing a slow winter, because some of these guys, like, the Yankees, we're looking at a guy like Luis Cervino. It's, do we need two pitchers or one pitcher? Well, how far along is he going to be? Same thing with Noah Syndergaard. The closer that you get to know where it's coming back, the less likely you are to spend on an extra starting pitcher because you don't need it. You can run with the Mats and you can run with the Peterson with Stroman, Carrasco, and Noah and DeGrom until Noah gets back, and then have Noah either replace Peterson or Mats, depending on what's going on. And Lugo could even be in contention for that starting spot as well over Mats.
Well, right now with Thor, obviously he's still out with the Tommy John. They're expecting him to be back in either June or July. Good morning, LG. Good morning, Red. Key, what up? The projected starters right now for our rotation is Jacob deGrom, Carlos Carrasco, Marcus Stroman, Seth Lugo, and David Peterson, with a sixth spot potentially being Robert Jesselman. I think that we just have to wait to play this out and see what happens, but also we need to be concerned about trying to bolster up that bullpen. Still not sold with Edwin Diaz after his first two seasons here. It's going to be difficult to see how this plays out. And one thing to touch on, since you were talking about like MLB really wants fans, I have a slight suggestion. Call me crazy, whatever it is, what it is. I feel like certain fans should be able to be at the ballparks right now, and those would be fans or people that have in fact taken the vaccine.
I think that becomes so subjective because how is the distribution going? Like, is everyone, if I want to go to the game, can I get a vaccine before the game? Or is it like, because as it is now, not even all the nurses have been able to get their vaccine. So how are you going to say
that's false? That's false.
No, that's what the governor was saying. Not all healthcare workers are inoculated with the vaccine right now.
Is it that they don't have an opportunity to get it? Or is it the fact that they're opting out on getting it? Because
it's a combination of both. Because what happens?
My job, I'm getting, even yesterday before I went in, I got a phone call. I didn't answer it. I checked the voicemail shortly after, and they pretty much are telling me that the vaccine is available today. Walk-ins accepted, because a lot like with us, they're doing it by appointments. They do walk-ins, whatever. I haven't, and I won't do it yet. I'm gonna play this out, see what happens. I don't want to see a third arm or a horn growing out of my forehead, but it's something to consider. And I was talking to a doctor about it, and it's a matter of look at it from this standpoint. It's something you want to do to protect not just yourself, but you have anybody you live with, your loved ones, your family, whatever.
Mhm.
And I understand that, but I want to take precaution and not be the guinea pig. Let me wait and see how it plays out for the others first, and then we'll see what happens.
But I think the biggest problem is how it's able to be implemented into people because of the refrigeration that some of these vaccines go under. Some take two inoculations in order for you to actually be, getting it. So there's so many different variables, and it's just being rolled out that I think that doing something like that just kind of create if you look at what the governor in New York, and the reason why I bring up governor from New York because the Mets obviously are in New York. The governor of New York let the Buffalo Bills have some fans in the stands for their playoff game, barring that they were able to test positive for COVID before they came into the building. So is there a possibility that maybe they do something like that for the sports? Yes. But do I think it's possible to do that when you have restaurants that are being closed, gyms that are being closed, and all these other businesses that are not able to have people? No, that's going to be a horrible look for the governor, and it'll really put him in a bad position. So honestly, I think that once we have more of a percentage of the country, with the vaccine, then getting fans in the stands definitely becomes a possibility. I do think that MLB may push it out. MLB may wait to May just so that it's kind of like you said, most of the population either had it or opted out, and it's not like a situation where it's like, well, this rich guy got it or this person that worked in the hospital get it. Why can't I get it? And
well, I know that they're trying to issue it out to the elderly as well right now because they're the ones that were high, like most high risk of getting it, because I was seeing that a lot when it really hit the Bronx hard. It was mostly people that were well over, like, they were 55 plus, more or less. So it's a tough situation right now. I know it still sucks for a lot of diehard fans and stuff that they, as of right now, can't be in the arenas and the stadiums. Like watching the NBA and looking at it so empty. I know we watched a bubble last year, which was cool, which was interesting, but right now, looking at some of these games, it's just so weird seeing it so empty. And if they could take a page from the WWE with what WWE's done with their Thunderdome, if they were to do something like that for the home games, and they normally WWE would set it up like 2 days in advance or whatever. You register, if you get in, you're in. There's a list of guidelines of what you can and cannot do while you're on. They've used the arena in Tampa. I can't remember the name of it. That actually it was the arena in Orlando that the Magic play at until the season started. That contract ended, but now they're at the Trop, and there's actually a lot more screens where you see the fans on in the Trop. They need to do something like that for right now for the NBA. And Orlando should have been ones that should have jumped on the phone right away, since they were renting out that arena to the WWE. They should have been like, yo, this is actually a pretty cool idea. We should be doing the same thing for our games. The NBA should be doing that. You'll get a great fan base, and it'll be something for the fans. They'll feel like they're a part of the game. It'll be something for them to enjoy as well.
I think the question comes down to how much is it going to cost for them in order to implement that, and is it really worth it? Because the NBA is also one of those leagues where, you figure they're going to start letting people in as the vaccines go and as they can get some approvals. I think NBA's real goal is to the playoffs to have people there, and they're trying to set that up. And that's also, I think, why they only released the first half of their schedule. The second half of the NBA schedule has yet to be released. And I think the main reason for that is because they're waiting to see what happens with these vaccines and with people, so they can determine if they can get people back in the building and when can they get them back in the building. So I think that's all all business, and it's just kind of hard to see exactly what's going on. Like, how much spare capital does the Magic have in order to do that after dealing with so many other things? And then if you set something like that up, how do you talk to the workers that are in the building that may have not gotten their paychecks for several months because they couldn't afford it and there was no business? Meanwhile, they're putting all these extra things in, and just the basic people that keep the building running can't eat or have a job. Okay. So I think that becomes a PR situation more than anything. Yeah, it's nice for the fans, but there's other people that are real life working that we got to factor into it. And I think that PR battle is something they probably just don't want to have.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a tough situation for everybody involved right now, and it sucks. But you know what? This is the world that we're living in, and
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for everybody. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Carrasco being put in this rotation definitely will help that Mets starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, excuse me. This is the
I
game
remember
third
Carlos
last year.
Carrasco was coming off of a serious injury. I believe it was like leukemia or something like that he had the season before last season, and he missed the end part of the season before last season. And then he came back last year, and he actually performed pretty well, all things considering. So I do expect him to be even better than he was last year as he rebuilds his strength and gets back onto MLB conditioning and everything like that.
He didn't look too bad last year, especially after missing that the previous year. He started 12 games, 68 innings pitched, 55 hits, 22 runs, 22 earned runs, 8 home runs, 27 walks, and 82
See,
strikeouts.
that's the problem with him, man. 27. How many innings did he pitch?
68.
Oh, that's not that bad then. 27
No.
walks, 68 innings. That's not bad at all. And how many hits did he give up?
He gave up 55 hits, 82 strikeouts.
Oh, so he's only like slightly above about a 1 WHIP. We probably say he's like one under a 1-2.
Yeah, so it's like
That's not bad.
everybody's like we fleeced the Indians. But the thing is, they were actually trying to dump cap anyways. Like they were trying to dump salary anyways. Especially that's exactly why Carrasco was involved in this, and they ended up trading away. I believe it was about $32 million to the Mets. So it's really not that bad. Like people,
and they weren't going to sign him anyway, and you dumped the salary of Carrasco. So.
Do we see Lindor getting an extension? Yes, because Toronto was actually was getting involved in so many different things and so many different players that it was crazy. Like I'm looking at all these different names, including Trevor Bauer, that they're interested in him. I think they're potentially interested in Justin Turner. They could potentially be interested in Chris Bryant, who the Mets apparently were in talks with the Cubs for quite some time. And it more or less came out after the acquisition of Lindor that the Cubs and Mets were in talking terms about a potential trade for Chris Bryant. Now, I wake up this morning and woke up to a couple of different alerts from various sources that deal had actually been dead a while back. But at the same time, the Cubs are still trying to ship out Chris Bryant by the end of this weekend. So there might be a potential move that happens, not saying necessarily that he's coming to the Mets, but there could be something done by the end of today, if not early this coming week. So just stay posted on that.
Yep, and I think that Chris Bryant would be a good fit with the Blue Jays, and it makes sense why the Blue Jays are going after all these players. When you look at it, last year they were in the playoffs. You figure they're about 1 or 2 steps away from being real championship contenders, and they're going to be dealing with the Yankees going forward. And you have good players in your farm system if you are the Blue Jays, guys like Peterson and all these other studs that they have. Calvin Biggio. They have
Vlad Jr.
Jr. So they have a ton, and Gurriel Jr. Also he's been hot for them. So they have a ton of top prospects over there. Bo Bichette has been an animal. He's a fantasy stud.
You just got a bunch of second generation kids, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it because you hear the names and you got people that are way younger than us that are not familiar with their fathers. Like we grew up watching their fathers. And these were guys I enjoyed watching growing up as a kid. Craig Biggio, one of my all-time favorite second basemen, hands down. I saw my very first Met game was the Mets versus the Astros, and I fell in love with. I know I'm a Met fan, but Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell were 2 of my favorite players to watch growing up. Vladimir Guerrero was just a beast. And I actually have one of my bosses at work actually played minor league ball with him ages and ages and ages ago. Sorry to date you. But Bo Bichette, his father was Dante Bichette. He was an excellent player for the Colorado Rockies. It's crazy to see how these kids just are like staples of their dads, and like how great potentially they could be in the long run. Like it's very, I'm happy for them, and it's something that's just amazing to watch.
Yep, and I think it'll be interesting to see what the Blue Jays do going forward because they do have that good young nucleus. So I think it becomes very interesting what they pull off because I think that they're going to be the biggest competition to the Yankees this year, coming up with Tampa Bay getting rid of so many of their top players. I mean, yes, they're rookies and their young kids can come up and play well, but I just don't think you can catch lightning in the bottle like that, especially when you're leaving a guy like Snell off of your team and putting him onto a team like the Padres. So I think that's a huge loss for them.
Now, when it comes to the divisions this year, are they doing it the same way they did it last year during COVID, or are
Schedules
they
haven't really been broken down yet, so we don't know exactly what's going on. We don't even know, how many games are going to be played yet. So all that stuff is still in flux. They haven't given us any definitive answers about that.
Dementa Damien has a question. What's your thoughts on Schwarber going to the Nationals, and do you think it was a smart move of the Cubs letting him go?
Yes, I do think it's a smart move for the Cubs because where are you going to play him? He's not an outfield in defense. He's just not. You can't play him in outfield. And then if you want to put him at first base, you have Rizzo. So I don't really think you have a spot for him. And then you're going to sign him to a contract. I don't see why you would sign a guy to a contract that you can't even put into your everyday outfield, especially when you're paying guys like Hayward so much money. I just think that with that setup, yes, they have to let him go. And I think that the Nationals signing him is a great deal because they need some power in that lineup. You can put him at first base. I think that it's a great deal for the Nationals because Schwarber has a lot of talent, but he also strikes out a lot, and he's not the best at getting on base as far as like average goes. So I mean, Schwarber's a solid player. He's not enough to rock the boat or to really change things unless he really comes into a career year and shows off some of that talent that so many people had or thought he had. I mean, when the Yankees traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs the year they won the World Series, it was either Schwarber or Gleyber Torres that they were going to get, and they really wanted Schwarber more than Gleyber Torres, and Theo Epstein wouldn't deal him. So with no Theo Epstein there, I don't really know who in that front office would be supporting Schwarber when Schwarber hasn't really produced, and most people expected him to be a catcher and an outfielder or catcher and a first baseman, not just an outfielder, and that also lowered his value a lot by him not being able to play catcher consistently.
Damn, man. I love Taco's knowledge.
That's just my shit, man. I love me some baseball, football, basketball. I love all that. Like I'm just a sports guy.
Guys, on that note, we are gonna have to roll out because I unfortunately have to go to work. I thank you guys for coming in. Please, in the description, everybody's links are in there, including the Daily Sporting and Hammer's House and Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure to like, subscribe, and smash that button. Smash that bell. We are going to roll out of here. I hope you guys continue to stay safe. I hope you guys are continuing to do the right things. I know this was a crazy week, but we're not even going to remotely get into that because when it comes to Spotlight and Daily Sporting, we're all about sports. So, guys, take care. Be safe. Most importantly, wash your hands and your asses. We're going to roll out with this video.
But I know that's just in my mind. I know everything is just in my mind. Do you really want to be famous? Do you really want to be a superstar? Do you really want to get dangerous? Do you even know where the groupies are? Bitches out here
Welcome to Hammer's House.
Guys, we're wrapping up. Stay tuned. I think within the next couple of days, I just had somebody last week reach out to us while we were doing a live last week that I should consider covering the Golden State Warriors because that's one of my favorite NBA teams. I know they play on the West Coast. The games are late. I'm normally stuck at work, but probably going to start doing post-game and breakdowns, whether it being shortly after the game or the next morning. So there will be more content coming soon to Hammer's House. I hope you guys enjoy it, especially for everybody on the West Coast, because the person that reached out said there's not that many people that cover the Warriors when it comes to podcasts and stuff. So it'll definitely be a new venture. It'll be something that's very interesting. But we're going to continue to be doing Raiders sports talk, even though we're in the off season currently for us. unfortunately. But we're probably going to be doing weekly segments Tuesdays or Wednesdays, so stay tuned for that. And also, obviously, baseball season's around the corner. Mets, all teams report pitchers and catchers next month, so definitely be doing breaking news and current news with the Mets as well. So we will keep you up to date. And same thing with Taco. Taco will be on board. We will be doing a lot of things together soon, especially when it comes to the New York sports. Maybe even have a call-in line as well with your questions. And I know he's going to be gearing you guys up for fantasy baseball as well. So
yep, and just because I know this is on a couple of different platforms, so I know it's showing on Daily Sporting. So some of us that are watching there, they're like, what's all the Spotlight sports stuff, Taco? Well, I'm doing a combination podcast here, and for those that are on Spotlight and those that are with Hammer's House, I do a lot of fantasy coverage. So fantasy basketball, fantasy football, fantasy baseball are three of my favorite and best subjects that I cover. We're working on having a weekly fantasy basketball videos coming out for you guys. We just dropped a betting tips video for the slate of games, the 6 games that we have for Wild Card Weekend. Next week, we're going to do it again, where we're going to cover the betting odds on these games again and kind of give you a prep for that. So we got a lot of things coming for you as well over on this side, and we look forward to it.
Iverson, do me one quick favor and roast Damian before I leave.
Yeah.
Real quickly. Some of his trolling tactics are just annoying. Just give me one dig at him, please. Before I hit end broadcast. Just hit him once.
I mean, all you gotta say is just wait till next year with Clay. I mean, that's the motto, right? Since y'all lost in the finals, right?
Regardless, I'm still enjoying watching them play. It sucks not seeing Clay play. I feel bad for the dude, but he'll bounce back. But Damian, you're a troll. You're a pain in the ass. You were scared when we brought you in on New Year's, so you're still running your mouth though. I don't think Iverson's got anything though, so we're gonna break out. And I will see you guys soon. Later.
Peace.